Okorie was the kind of village people described as quietly blessed. It did not have towering walls or wealthy chiefs, but it had something many places lacked: peace. The village rested between two gentle hills, wrapped in palm trees and narrow red earth paths that connected one home to another like veins in a living body. Life moved slowly there, steady and predictable. At dawn, roosters crowed and farmers went to their fields. By afternoon, women fetched water from the stream, laughing as their children splashed nearby. At night, lanterns glowed softly outside huts, and neighbors gathered to share stories before sleep. In Okorie, people walked freely after sunset without fear. Until the morning Amara died. It was just after sunrise when a group of women returning from the stream noticed something wrong. Amara's clay pot lay on its side near the water's edge, a thin stream still pouring into the sand as if it had only just fallen. At first, they thought she had slipped. Someone called her name. She did not answer. When they turned her body, a scream tore through the quiet morning. Amara was dead. The villagers rushed to the riverbank. Men, women, and children crowded around her body in disbelief. Her wrapper was still neatly tied, her hair untouched. There were no cuts, no bruises, no marks of violence. Her face looked peaceful, almost as if she had simply lain down to rest. Then the sun rose higher. As its light stretched across the ground, people noticed something that made the air turn cold. Amara's shadow was wrong. Instead of lying naturally behind her body, it bent sharply to one side, twisted thin and stretched as if it had been pulled away from her before being forced back into place. It did not align with the angle of the sun. It did not behave like any shadow should. The elders exchanged uneasy glances. "This is not normal," one of them murmured. Some villagers said the sun was playing tricks. Others suggested the ground was uneven, but no explanation settled the unease creeping into their hearts. Amara was buried before evening, as custom demanded. The village mourned quietly and tried to move on. But Okorie did not forget. A week later, another woman was found dead near a footpath at the edge of the village. Again, no wounds. Again, no blood. And again, her shadow lay twisted beneath her. Fear crept into Okorie like a thief in the night. Not loudly, not suddenly. It settled gently, day by day, changing small things at first. Women stopped laughing loudly at dusk. Children were called indoors earlier. Lanterns burned longer, casting nervous light across doorways. People began to whisper. Some said a river spirit had been disturbed. Others blamed witches passing through. A few claimed it was a curse from the ancestors. The deaths continued. And still, no one suspected Ease. If anything, people trusted him more. Ease was everything Okorie admired in a man. Tall, broad-shouldered, and calm, he moved with the easy confidence of someone who knew his strength and did not need to prove it. He was a skilled hunter who provided meat for the village and helped elders without complaint. When fear spread, Ease stepped forward naturally. He walked women home at night. He stood watch near lonely paths. He spoke gently, reassuring worried families. With Ease around, nothing will happen, mothers said. Women felt safer when they walked beside him. His presence calmed the heart. His voice softened fear. When he smiled, people believed him. No one noticed the pattern forming beneath their trust. No one noticed that every woman who died had last been seen near Ease. At night, when lantern light flickered near his feet, Ease's shadow sometimes behaved strangely. It stretched longer than it should. It lagged behind his movements for a brief moment, like something reluctant to follow. But shadows were ignored things. People watched faces, not the ground. Then a stranger arrived. Her name was Nkiru. She entered Okorie quietly one afternoon, carrying palm wine and sealed gourds balanced easily on her head. She dressed simply, her wrapper neatly tied, her expression calm and observant. She greeted people politely but did not linger in conversation. When asked where she came from, she smiled and said, "Not far." Nkiru noticed things immediately. The tension beneath ordinary conversations. The way women avoided walking alone at dusk. The silence that fell whenever shadows lengthened. She noticed Ease too. She saw how people relaxed around him. How women smiled easily in his presence. And she felt something tighten inside her whenever his shadow crept too close to the light. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Ease approached her with a familiar smile. "Let me walk you home," he offered kindly. Nkiru met his gaze steadily. "I'll manage," she replied. The words were simple. Calm. Final. Ease's smile remained, but something dark flickered behind his eyes. For the first time, his charm met resistance. On the ground, unseen by others, his shadow shifted. And for the first time in Okorie, the darkness felt challenged. Ease had always been admired in Okorie. Even before fear entered the village, people spoke his name with ease. He was the kind of man elders liked to point at when advising young boys. Be like him, they would say. Tall, strong, calm. Ease did not talk too much. He did not brag. He did not fight unnecessarily. When he spoke, people listened. When he promised something, it was done. He hunted for the village. He helped repair huts after heavy rains. He escorted the elderly when paths were muddy. Trust followed him naturally. So when women began dying, no one looked in his direction. Instead, Ease became more present than ever. He stood near the footpaths at dusk. He offered to walk women home just to be safe. He stayed out late, lantern in hand, watching the darkness. If Ease is around, people said nothing bad can happen. Women believed it. They relaxed when they walked beside him. The fear eased a little when they heard his voice nearby. Mothers felt calmer knowing he was close. No one asked why death never came when Ease was present. By day, he was exactly what Okorie believed him to be. By night, he belonged to the dark. Ease liked the night. Not because he feared the sun, but because the night listened to him. Darkness stretched kindly at his feet. Lantern light bent strangely when he passed. His shadow grew longer than it should have, thinner, sharper. Sometimes it moved before he did. Ease felt it always. The shadow was not separate from him. It was bound to him. Years earlier, long before the first woman died, Ease had been hungry for something he could not name. Not food, not money, power. The kind that made people trust him without question. The kind that made women open their doors and hearts easily. The kind that made him untouchable. The ritual had been simple. The price had not. The spirit did not enter his body. It entered what followed him everywhere, his shadow. It fed quietly. It left no wounds. It took warmth, breath, life, and it obeyed him. Until Nkiru. From the moment she arrived, Ease felt something was wrong. She did not linger when he appeared. She did not soften her voice. She did not tilt her head when he spoke. When he passed, her eyes did not follow. Worse, she watched the ground. She noticed shadows. Ease began seeing her everywhere. At the market, standing where lanterns burned brightest. Near the stream, leaving before dusk. On footpaths, never alone. When he offered to escort her that first evening and she refused, something unfamiliar stirred inside him. Discomfort. He smiled through it, of course. That came naturally. But inside, his thoughts shifted. No woman had refused him before. Not truly. He watched her more closely after that. He noticed how she kept a careful distance from darkness. How she never stood where shadows overlapped. How she moved like someone who was waiting. Ease did not like waiting, so he did what had always worked before. He pulled away. No greetings. No smiles. No offers of help. When they crossed paths, he acted as though she barely existed. It was a risk. But Ease understood people. He understood curiosity. He understood silence. After a few days, he saw the change. Nkiru began watching him instead, from across the market, from the shade of a tree, from behind lantern light. One evening, she approached him as he sharpened his hunting knife outside his hut. "You've been quiet lately," she said. Ease did not look up. "Nothing worth saying," he replied. The silence that followed was heavy. For the first time, Ease felt the shadow stir without command. That night, the village slept uneasily. Another woman died before dawn, found near a path where the lantern had gone out. Same still body, same twisted shadow. Fear tightened its grip on Okorie. Mothers cried. Elders argued. Men spoke in low voices. And Ease stood among them, calm as ever. "We must not panic," he said. "We will find the cause." Nkiru watched him as he spoke, watched his face, watched his hands. And then she looked at the ground, at his shadow. For just a moment, it did not match his shape. That was enough. That night, When Ease invited her to walk with him beyond the edge of the village, Nkiru did not refuse. She nodded. "All right," she said. In the darkness, Ease smiled. And behind him, his shadow stretched eagerly across the ground. Nkiru had learned long ago that answers did not come to those who rushed. They came to those who watched. Before she ever set foot in Okorie, before she ever carried palm wine through its narrow paths, her heart had already been heavy with grief. Her younger sister Zainab had been full of laughter, the kind that came easily and spread to others. She loved evening walks and never believed danger could hide in familiar places. One night, Zainab did not return home. They found her body at dawn, near a footpath she had walked 100 times before. She looked untouched, peaceful. Until the sun rose, her shadow lay wrong beneath her. Bent, twisted, as if something had pulled the life out of her and dragged it away before letting go. The village mourned. Then they moved on. Nkiru could not. She asked questions quietly, listened more than she spoke. She noticed the details others ignored. The deaths were never loud, never violent, never messy. They were careful. And always, always there was a man nearby, trusted, admired, safe. So Nkiru followed the pattern, village after village, footpath after footpath, whispers after whispers, until the stories led her to a woman who lived far from everyone else, deep in the forest where the trees stood too close together and the air felt thick with secrets. People said the woman saw things that were not meant to be seen. Nkiru went anyway. The woman did not look surprised when Nkiru arrived. She burned herbs slowly, letting the smoke coil upward, her eyes fixed on the ground. "You are looking for what follows men," she said. Nkiru swallowed. "The shadow," she replied. The woman nodded. "Some men do not carry death in their hands," she said. "They carry it behind them." She explained slowly. The spirit fed on trust, on desire, on the safety women felt around certain men. It lived in the shadow because shadows were ignored, stepped over, never questioned. But shadows listen to light, the woman added, not all light. She handed Nkiru a small lamp heavier than it looked. Inside was oil mixed with crushed mirror stone, pale and sharp. "Wrong light confuses the shadow," she said. And confused shadows forget who they belong to. Before Nkiru left, the woman touched her wrist gently. "You must let him believe he is one," she warned. "Only then will the shadow come fully into the open." So Nkiru came to Okorie. She came quietly. She sold palm wine. She watched. She waited. She noticed the pattern immediately. Women dying where light was weak. Fear growing where trust was strongest. And ease. Always ease. The way people relaxed around him. The way women smiled when he spoke. The way darkness clung to his feet. Nkiru tested him carefully. She refused his escort. She watched his reaction. She saw the flicker behind his eyes. She changed tactics. She allowed him closer. She let herself be seen with him in the evenings. Let people whisper. Let ease believe he was winning. She laughed softly when he spoke. She walked beside him after sunset. She never stepped fully into darkness. Ease noticed the change. His confidence returned. He spoke more. Smiled wider. Stood closer. The shadow responded. It stretched longer when they walked. It sharpened when lanterns dimmed. It crept closer to her feet. Nkiru felt it. Cold. Heavy. Hungry. But she did not flinch. She waited. The night ease invited her beyond the edge of the village. She knew the end had come. It was moonless. The kind of night shadows loved. "Let us walk," Ease said softly. "Away from noise." Nkiru nodded. She felt the lamp hidden beneath her wrapper press against her skin. As they walked, the village faded behind them. Lanterns grew fewer. The path narrowed. Darkness thickened. Ease's steps slowed. His voice lowered. "You are different," he said. "Stronger than the others." Nkiru said nothing. The shadow stretched. It moved on its own now, rising slightly from the ground, testing the air. Ease stopped walking. "This is far enough," he said. Nkiru turned to face him. Her heart was steady. Behind him, the shadow lifted fully from the earth. For the first time, it stood alone. The forest was silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence that came with sleep, but the heavy kind. The kind that felt like everything was holding its breath. Ease stood still. Nkiru stood facing him. Between them, the darkness thickened. Behind Ease, the shadow no longer lay flat on the ground. It peeled upward slowly, like smoke learning how to become solid. Its edges trembled, stretching into long, thin shapes that did not belong to any human form. Ease did not turn immediately. He felt it. The familiar pull at his heels, the quiet hunger, the obedient presence that had followed him for years. But tonight, something was wrong. The shadow hesitated. Ease frowned. "Come," he whispered, the word barely leaving his lips. The shadow shifted, but did not obey. For the first time since the ritual, it resisted. Nkiru took a slow step back. Her hand slid beneath her wrapper, fingers closing around the small lamp hidden there. The oil inside sloshed softly, as if aware of what was about to happen. Ease noticed her movement. "What are you doing?" he asked. His voice was calm, but his eyes were not. Nkiru met his gaze. "You already know," she said. The shadow twitched. Ease's breath grew shallow. "You should not have come," he said quietly. "You should have stayed where you were safe." Nkiru's mouth tightened. "Safe?" she replied. "Like my sister was safe." The word struck him. Sister. Something flickered across Ease's face. Surprise, then annoyance. He laughed softly. "You are not the first to lose someone," he said. "And you will not be the last." Behind him, the shadow leaned closer to Nkiru, stretching eagerly. She felt its cold brush against her ankle. That was when she lit the lamp. The flame did not glow warmly. It fractured. Light burst out in sharp, broken angles, scattering across the forest floor like shards of glass. Shadows twisted violently, bending in directions they were never meant to bend. The shadow screamed, not with a voice, but with a sound that crawled into the bones. A high, tearing shriek that made the air vibrate. Ease staggered. "What did you do?" he shouted. The shadow recoiled, pulling away from Nkiru as if burned. Its shape rippled wildly, unable to settle, unable to hide. Nkiru held the lamp high. "You fed it lies," she said steadily. "But light does not lie." The shadow writhed, its edges breaking apart, reforming, stretching toward Ease instead. Ease stepped back. "No," he whispered. The shadow hesitated, torn between habit and hunger. Then it turned. Ease screamed as it rushed him. Not violently, not quickly. It wrapped around him like a cloak, sinking into his chest, his throat, his breath. His strength drained away in seconds. His knees buckled. Lantern light flickered weakly nearby. Nkiru watched. She did not look away. Ease collapsed onto the ground, gasping once, then not at all. The shadow clung to him for a moment longer. Then it flattened. When the sun rose the next morning, villagers found Ease's body at the edge of the forest. His face was twisted in terror. And for the first time in Okorie, a body lay without a shadow. Morning came slowly to Okorie. The sun rose the way it always had, spilling light over palm trees, footpaths, and mud huts. Birds returned to their songs. Smoke curled from cooking fires. From a distance, it looked like an ordinary day. But the village knew better. People gathered at the edge of the forest in uneasy silence. Men stood with their arms crossed. Women held their wrappers tightly around themselves. No one spoke loudly. Easy's body lay on the ground. He looked smaller than he had in life. The man everyone trusted. The one who walked others home. The one who said he would protect them. The elders examined him carefully. No wounds, no blood, no marks of struggle. But something was missing. When the sun rose higher and shadows lengthened across the earth, everyone saw it. Ease had no shadow. A murmur spread through the crowd. Some people stepped back. Others covered their mouths. A few fell to their knees as understanding finally took shape. The truth settled heavily over Okorie. The deaths. The fear. The pattern. It had not come from outside. It had lived among them. Nkiru did not stay to explain. By the time the elders sent someone to look for her, she was already gone. Her hut stood empty. The gourds of palm wine were gone. Only faint footprints led toward the main path out of the village. Some said she left before sunrise. Others believed she never slept at all. No one followed her. The village mourned differently after that. They mourned Amara. They mourned the other women. They mourned their trust. Mothers cried openly. Fathers sat in silence. The elders spoke long into the night, voices heavy with regret. "We did not see," one elder said. "We did not want to see," another replied. Life in Okorie did not return to what it had been. It changed. Lanterns were kept burning at night, not out of fear, but out of awareness. Women no longer walked blindly beside familiar smiles. Men were no longer trusted simply because they were kind, and shadows were noticed. Children were taught to watch them. Years passed. The forest grew thick again where eaves fell. Footpaths shifted. New houses were built. New children were born. But the story did not fade. Mothers told it softly to their daughters as they braided their hair in the evenings. "Watch the ground," they would say. "Not every danger comes with noise." They taught them to trust slowly, to listen carefully, to pay attention to what followed people when the sun went down. And whenever a man smiled too easily, whenever his presence felt comforting too quickly, the women of Okorie remembered. They remembered Amara. They remembered the broken shadows. They remembered the stranger who came quietly and left without praise. And they remembered the lesson carved into the village forever. Not all monsters hide their faces. Some walk beside you and wait for the light to fade. What did you get to learn from this story? Kindly drop your thoughts and questions below. Do well to hit the subscribe button to see more emotional and exciting stories like this on Folktales by Siri.